Hello and welcome to episode 363 of the Board Game BBQ Podcast, brought to you by Advent Games, More Than Meeple, and our Patreons. You've got Conor here, and I am joined by none other than you're still in Melbourne. I'm the one that's moved. So I don't think it'd be fair to call you like my former Melburnian or Victorian brother. I think it's like I'm the traitor.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Of which you've never forgiven.
I'm the victim.
I actually think you benefited out of this somehow because I see you less often.
Yeah. Sure.
You're not too sure about it.
Sure.
But yes, it is really cold here in Sydney. How are you going down?
It's even colder here in Melbourne.
Yeah,
it's been really frosty. Yeah.
It's chilly. I think we're in a whole eastern seaboard cold snap. But what has been warm and sizzling are the games we've been playing. And Joe, I can see that you are continuing your little dabble into Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, I know. It's been pretty crazy. I've been playing my Final Fantasy themed decks.
Nice.
And it's been really fun. I just wanted to keep talking about it because I think it's kind of fun to hear the evolution of my experience with it. I think I've said in previous episodes, was a bit of a skeptic with the Commander format just because it particularly felt very dependent on card draw and getting the cards you want. And so it felt almost luck based. But I've come to appreciate the strategy. And I think the part that I've really enjoyed about it has been a lot of it is identifying in your opponent's kind of engine. It's almost like an engine building, tableau building game.
Yeah.
Is how I'm kind of coming to appreciate it, is that if you can identify the key like gear in their engine and knock it out, then you really stop them from advancing, and that's how you kind of will win most of the time. I've been primarily playing a deck that for those of you who like Final Fantasy, it's the Final Fantasy X Commander pre-constructed deck. And so it's all about adding counters to different cards, and then it powers up. There are different cards in your deck that power up your creatures that have counters on them.
Nice.
And you also have a way to like really amplify the counters. And so what the counter does is add strength and defense to the card. And so you can like double the counters on a card that's already there. And so I've had games where I've had 97 counters on a card.
Oh my God. That's like bringing back PTSD of playing with my brother, who would definitely have a strat where he's just doing that. And it's like, what can man do against such reckless hate? Like, it's just it's so powerful.
It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's if anyone listening is a Magic the Gathering person, so it's a blue, white, and green deck.
Nice.
So apparently that means something to Magic the Gathering folks. But it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed it. I still feel like, because I've played it now, not just one-on-one with Lorenzo, I've also been playing in like 3s and 4s.
Yeah.
And I think I enjoy it better at one-on-one because it feels very intense and cutthroat one-on-one, and you can really follow what the other player's doing and kind of count the cards that they've got. It's a bit more chaotic with more players. But have you played much at all recently, Conor?
Not recently, no. I've been umming and ahhing, and like in our local shop here in Hornsby, there's a big sign for the Marvel Magic the Gathering that's coming out. I'm like, oh. It's like, do I or don't I? And I haven't really played much of the Commander variant. My brother was really keen to try it. I'd played more, I guess, like I would call it like standard, where you have your 40 card deck or whatever you've got, and you have multiples of a card, because it's like, this is the key card I need to get out, right? So it's built around this idea of having multiple spells. You would have a legendary card potentially where you could only have one of that type of card or something along that. But I think, like you said, the small experience I've had with the Commander deck, I just love the idea of like, this is my dude, this is my hero, whatever you want to call it, and I'm going to build it around their power. I think that's fantastic. What do the tokens represent? Because what I do find is that for a game that is kind of it's when I say it's full of theme, it's gotten better at the powers representing something, like something tangible. So what do the tokens represent in the Final Fantasy X deck?
Yeah, I think it's the conceit of it is that you're buffing the character essentially, and so I think probably that element of the token itself is less thematic. But I think what is thematic is the way the powers, the labeling of the powers, for example, and the way they work makes sense. So, like, you know, that power that I was talking about, where you double the number of tokens on a character, it's called proliferating. And typically, the type of cards that will proliferate are either magic users or it's like an earth or elemental based thing. Yeah. So it's like it represents growth. So
yeah, cool.
So it feels thematic in that way, even though the counter itself is relatively abstract in itself. But really, all the counter really represents is you growing in power or the creature being buffed by a particular thing, for example. I just think it's what I think is really clever about the Commander and the push that Wizards of the Coast have had to have a lot of pre-constructed Commander decks being released as part of their main kind of selling tactic, is that it means that if you play against other people who have a pre-constructed deck, it's relatively balanced. Like it's not going to have, you know, someone hasn't bought this like $50 card that is going to like is completely unbalanced and is very hard to knock off, for example. So it's really approachable, I think, if you're interested in and you like that. If you're interested in Magic the Gathering and you like that kind of push and pull and want to play with a couple of friends who are also interested, I think buying a pre-constructed deck and giving it a go is actually a really approachable way to kind of put your feet in the water. I have no interest in like buying heaps of boosters, collecting cards, trying to find I don't find the collecting aspect interesting. I also don't have that brain to like make my own decks and like make a busted or deck with infinite loops or anything like that. I don't have that kind of brain. So I just enjoy the puzzle of, well, what's in front of me? These are the cards I have. What's the best combo I can make to try and defeat my opponent or knock out the main kind of key card or creature in their tableau. So you know, if you and your friends kind of are interested, I think the pre-constructed decks are great.
Yeah,
and if you're listening and you've had your interest piqued, I think research into the thing I would say is with Magic the Gathering is each color has its own style of play.
Yes.
So the red color is very like aggressive, attacking, dealing damage directly. The blue decks, which is what I'm kind of playing, is more about trickery and controlling the board state, for example. The black cards are more about like sapping power, sacrificing creatures. It's more like a necromantic deck, so on and so forth. So if you just have a quick read of what are the play styles of the different colors, then I think you'll get a feel for, I'm probably going to jive with this more and buy a pre-constructed deck that's that color, for example. I think it's actually surprisingly very approachable for someone who's a newbie.
Yeah, I think they have realized, kind of similar to, because they're of course owned by the same company with Dungeons and Dragons, like they need to make it accessible to keep people coming in. They obviously have, you know, something that kicks it off. So for example, like Stranger Things brought a whole lot of people on to play Dungeons and Dragons, but that's petered out. But they want to keep that supply of buyers, a supply of participants involved, so they make it more approachable. And the same thing, you know, they had the massive collections like Lord of the Rings, Final Fantasy, but they still want people to be buying the product. So that's why they're doing that. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that I would have to temper myself though, because I still get that rush of opening a booster pack and what did I get? And then it's all but dang it, like but it's good times. So
How about you? What have you been playing?
A couple of weekends ago, we got together and played some games at Sarah's house. So one of the games that we played was, I think, I forget how good and how fun this game is, and that's Orleans.
Hell yeah.
Which people have called quacks with a purpose. Now, the purpose of quacks is to have fun, right? Like and to rage at your uh, pot bag or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Pot bag has a different connotation, but with Orleans, what you're doing instead of quacks, if you're familiar with quacks, similar concept, you're drawing from your bag. But the cool thing about Orleans is that you can place your tokens on the board and they can stay there between turns. So it's a lot more strategic than quacks where, the fun is from, drawing one more. Am I going to get a white? Am I going to get a cherry bomb? Or am I going to get a colored one that's going to give me a bonus? The fun bonus is interacting with each other. Orleans is more, I guess, it is a lot more strategic, but you've still got the randomness of drawing from your bag. And then depending on the spaces that you're inhabiting on your board, you will get more of those tokens. The other thing that I think is important is effectively with quacks, you're never going to run out of tokens to take. I've played it at 4 players. I've played it at 5 players. At no point have we been like, oh no, we've run out of 3 blue chips or 5 blue chips or whatever. It just doesn't happen. It was all on. That's part of the game. Is it the selection of tokens running out, and you need to make sure that you're quicker in grabbing those, especially the section on the board where you increase the amount of tokens you draw from the bag. So it had been a while since I played it, whereas everyone else was pushing that up early, and I was like, yeah, I'll do that soon. I'll do that later. And then by the end, I couldn't push it up anymore because once the token's gone, you actually can't take that action anymore. Yeah. And then that leaves a lot of sections for you then if you're considering that you need to get in early, but you also don't want to flood your bag with tokens that aren't going to be too useful. Now, if you haven't played it before, you have a bag, you have tokens that you place in the bag, you draw a certain number out in a turn, depending on what your value is. You place them on the board and you're effectively activating worker placement spots. Now, these worker placement spots are on your board, and then there is one section that's shared, but you don't place it in there automatically. You place it somewhere on your board and then it moves in there. And that acts as end game scoring or benefits for you throughout the game. Also, the other way that you score points is by moving around France and collecting different materials and placing monasteries or workshops or cloisters, I can't remember what they're called, on the board. And then that helps multiply. You're collecting multipliers so that each of those workshops or buildings are worth more. It's really fantastic. So if you're someone who enjoys that concept of bag building, and bag building sometimes gets put in with like deck building, because it's like, there's randomness and I don't always get what I want. I don't always draw what I want. It's like, yes, but I feel like Orleans does have an added layer of strategy, a way to thin out your bag by leaving your workers on the board. I think that helps a lot. The other way that you can get rid of workers is not always a positive one, but they can die of starvation. So you have to feed your workers at some point and give up one of your food items. So, of course, it's France, so it's bread, cheese, and wine. And if you can't pay one of those, you've got to get rid of it. And if you're lucky, you can get rid of one of the workers who you have no use for anymore, or you might get rid of or you might draw a worker that you cannot get rid of. So that's fine, because you always have 5, I think, that are special. And so you can't commit them to maybe it's a monastery. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Pilgrimage?
Yeah. It's a pilgrimage.
Something
you
like
can't
that.
commit them to the pilgrimage, which is where they stay there. So that's another way that you can thin out your bag as well and then get points. But if they're your starting ones, you can't do that. So, yeah, I mean, look, you've clearly played this a few times, Joe. I mean, I think it's on BGA. It's just one of these games that is a classic. I mean, I've enjoyed this every time I played it.
Oh, same. Every time I play it, I have such a good time. But it's one of those games that the box isn't very flashy. So I think you can kind of walk past it without clocking it's there when you're like walking past and going, I'm going to pick a game for us to play. What can I pick? I was actually have had it on my mind recently because I was packing up the Melbourne library to send it for PlayCon, and I was in my board game room for a little while, and I noticed that I had I think it's the Trade and Intrigue expansion, which is in shrink still. So I haven't actually cracked that out. And so I was like, oh, I should crack that out with the expansion. Maybe I'll show Lorenzo the game because I really like it. And it's kind of representative of bag builders and trying to expand his board game horizons a bit. So I definitely want to. I'm not sure. Have you ever played it with any of the expansions?
Not with any of the expansions.
Yeah,
I have played it with the deluxe bits, which I mean, yeah, that's good gear. But
I've always been meaning to get them. I have the cardboard chips still, and they always, similar to Quacks, they always get stuck in the bag, in the corner of the bag.
And it's always the one you want to draw to. It's like, where's that? I know I've got one in there.
Right. You're like, I've got to mix it to get you, like shove your hand in and mix it around to make sure it all mixes up. Actually, when you started talking about it, I was like, oh, I've been meaning to get those Geek Up bits. I need to. I'm now on the BGG Geek Up store to have, as we're talking, to have a look and see how much.
Even though Dan's not on the podcast anymore, the purchase pen still lives on.
His legacy lives on. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Speaking of legacy, I actually played this game today with
did you?
Our friend Tom. Yes.
Yeah, lovely.
So let's chat Regicide Legacy for a bit.
Yeah. What chapter are you up to?
We're up to chapter 6.
Oh, okay. You're ahead of me.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we've just about to start chapter 6. I think, from memory. Yep. I guess we'll try and stay spoiler free. I just wanted to bring it up just to say that I have been really impressed with the new mechanics that get introduced with each chapter. I think they're really fresh and interesting, and you have to change up the way that you play. And the conditions for the win conditions also change, which in a really interesting way as well. So I haven't gone as far as you, Connor, but I've just really, again, if you have this game and it's been collecting dust on your shelf, it's definitely worth a play. It's in the running, I think, for one of the best Legacy games I've played for a while, which for me used to be Aeon Zen Legacy. So, yeah, it's just been so fun, really clever. The quality of the components are so luxe, and the gameplay's been really interesting. And it's just been a joy to get to the table every time. What have you thought, Connor?
Oh, exactly the same. It's one of these games that is incredibly tough, and myself and Tom will play it and play it for several hours and still not be able to complete the mission. And we've just got to leave it like not completed, and it actually leaves a bad taste in my mouth because it's like we can't not, but it's also 12:30 at night, and one of us has to go back home. We have to go back home. Or we've been playing for 6 hours, and people have places to be and people to see. So I wholeheartedly agree. The way that they have expanded on this idea of regicide and how they still could use just a simple deck of cards and a marker or a texter or something like that, and you still get the same effect.
Yeah.
And even there's some things that happen and they're a bit of a curveball. Like I'll put it out there. Like the story and all that type of stuff, it's very surface level. But you still end up having to change your deck around or having to change cards up. So maybe a teeniest, tiniest spoiler is that if you really don't want to hear any spoilers, just tune out and tune back in a sec. But there's a mechanic in there called the corruption mechanic.
Yeah.
And initially you think it's bad because of what happens with a card. But what it does let you do is it lets you play a card against particular bosses and still activate that power. The sacrifice is that you have to banish a card. Spoilers over. So I think just adding that in, and myself and Tom were discussing it today when we were playing it, that we wish some of our other cards had been corrupted because it would be more beneficial. We've got certain cards that are corrupted, which is fine, but we find ourselves stuck in a certain position because only certain cards are corrupted, and now it's making it quite tough. The chapter we're up to now, so chapter 6, is hard as nails.
Okay.
It is brutal.
Okay.
A lot of this time you can maybe go a few sessions. So, like, how many times generally do you feel like you have to play through some of the scenarios?
I don't want to make you feel bad, but we had the roadblock with the first chapter.
Yeah.
And I feel like the game is teaching you how to play the game with the first chapter.
Yeah.
Because I think we found it really hard, especially I think I was the problem. And I was going hard at the enemies and not actually strategically thinking, okay, this is what the deck looks like. What do I think is going to come up next? Should I be saving some cards for the next round? So I think the first chapter was really hard for that reason. But then every other chapter we've finished the first go.
Okay, all right.
So maybe we're just smarter than you. I don't know.
No, I think in combination you are both smarter than the combination of me and Tom. I think that's there's no doubt in my mind. Like Uncle Rico, no doubt in my mind. But this one's so it'll be interesting. I mean, if you can do this one first go, my hat is off, like fully off. So yeah,
I'll report back.
But it's great. Like, it is good because as we've discussed, it's stemming from a deck of cards, and they've got this challenge. I have been spruiking this game to lots of different people, to board gamers, to non-board gamers, to people who've played like a little bit of games or play video games, because I think it's just a good representative of a boss battler. With a simple deck of cards, and there's so much engagement. So I was actually talking to one of my workmates, and he's like, "Oh, you're going to play some games this weekend because it's a long weekend." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Which one?" And I said, "Oh, it's called Regicide Legacy." And he straight away looked it up, and I was explaining it to him. He's like, "I'm going to buy this game," and I was like, "Yeah, you should buy this game. It's really good." Yeah. So yeah, he's keen. But he's a bit of a board gamer and a bit of a gamer, so I think this is right up his alley.
Imagine buying this as like your first modern board game. It's so luxe. Like, the components are so luxe. It's such a pleasure to play with. If that you'd only played Monopoly or like Pluto previously, and you played that,
or even like Settlers of Catan.
It's it would blow your mind. 100%.
Yeah.
As we were talking, I was like, I wonder if people can actually buy this game, and we're talking about it, and it's frustrating for people. But actually, it's very available.
Yes.
So there's lots of stock out there. So
yeah, I think I'm pretty sure both of our sponsors, Advent definitely has it in stock. So
they certainly
hit Dean up and have a look at it. So Regicide is played with a simple deck of cards. Can't Stop is a game that's played with a set of 4 dice, and it's so addictive. Oh my Lord. You've played this, right?
I've only played it on BGA. I've never played it in person before. Yeah.
So Sarah has this great copy. It's actually a really cool copy. It unfolds. So the box itself unfolds and turns into a mountain. And it's got this one little section. Yeah, do you know the one I'm talking about?
I know the one. Yeah, I know. I've seen the box.
It's incredible. It's such a great copy. And it comes with these little wooden tents to indicate your progress up the hill. And then your marker for when it's your turn is a little mountain or ice pick. So Can't Stop is a great push your luck game where you are rolling 4 dice, and your aim is to get one of 3 numbers that you select within your first couple of turns. So, for example, you roll the set of dice. You might end up with a 4, a 2, a 3, and a 5. So you can make a 9 and a 5, or you can make a 7 and a 7. You could make I'm trying to think, what else did I say? A 6 and an 8. So as long as you pick 2 of those numbers, and then in your next roll you get in your future rolls you get any of those numbers that you pick, you will progress up the mountain. However, the catch is, if you don't roll any of those numbers, all your progress ceases. You can stop at any time. The other cool thing about this is that the way that the board's shaped, it's shaped like a triangle. In the case of the one on BGR, I just think is a triangle. The one that I played with Sarah is a mountain. A really nice little bit of art as a mountain. And the 7 has the highest peak that you need to get to. Then the 6 and the 8 are the next highest, so on and so forth, until 2 and 12, which have 3 peaks respectively. Now, you must be careful. You must be careful, because even if you reach the top of one of the lower ones, if you choose to keep going because you're like, oh, I'm on 8 and I can push 8 up a bit more, and you bail out because even if you get one of those other numbers like a 12 or a 2 and you're at the top, you're done. You cannot go further. So you really need to make sure that you are pushing the luck so far. I mean, my favorite thing to do is, of course, just push my luck as much as I can. And I will just continue to roll, making people's palms sweaty, making people go, oh, that's a terrible idea, Connor. Why are you pushing it so far? It's just a great, like I said, a great push your luck game. So simple. One of those games where you almost cheer for when people want to, you egg people on or egg them on not to go and say, don't do that or do that. That's really silly. You might get 2 11s or 2 12s in one go, or 2 12s in like 2 turns in succession. And you just keep thinking, oh, am I going to keep pushing it forward? Am I going to stop there? And it's so simple. And you can play it at 4 players, I think, max. And there's that push of, right, who's going to get to the 7s, the 6, and the 8s? And are people going to be game enough to go for the 3s and the 11s and the 2s and the 12s? It's just a lot of fun.
Just remind me how the actual scoring works.
Yeah, so it's the first person to get to the top of 3 sections, they win.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you get to the top of 7 or 6 or 8, that's all well and good, but you need to make sure that you get to the top of one of the other 2 as well. Now that could be a 6 or an 8, and Zolly, so Sarah's son Zolly, he always tries to go for the 6, 7, 8 strat and always tries to get the 6, 7, 8, which is probability. It makes sense, but he's also got the furthest to go. Yeah. Whereas if on one time you're able to push 11 up 2 sections, or 2 up 2 sections, or even 3 or 12 up a couple of sections, you're actually not too far off securing one of those win conditions. And it's always so funny when someone comes from, well, they're not really coming from the clouds, they're coming from underneath, and just comes in and has an absolute king roll and just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And they're just like, you know what? I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. And everyone's sitting there going, you're a clown. Why are you doing this? But like all push your luck games, that's half the fun.
It's because they can't stop.
Yeah, they can't stop. It's in the name.
Yeah, sure. I've only played it solo, I think, on BGA from memory, and I was really bad at it. That's all I remember. But it feels like one of those classic games that I'd love to give it a go with other people and just see what it's about. It sounds like fun.
Yeah, part of it is that silliness of, you're not too far. You should keep going. Keep going. Yeah. And then they bomb and you're like, hey, because you're awesome. 2 steps behind them on the 7 or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've also been playing Tiny Towns.
Yes. This is such a great game. I think it should be played more. And look, maybe that's a silly comment because there's so many games out there, right? Like it's just ridiculous how many games there are. But again, it's very, very simple. You, on your turn, you pick a color, which is a material to build with, and everyone has to build with that color. But what you're doing is you're building a town, a tiny town even, that where the different structures have different scoring mechanisms or abilities or requirements. So what starts to happen is you start placing these materials around the town. You're like, hey, this is good. I'm starting to build. And then all of a sudden, someone 3 turns in a row wants to build with straw. And you're like, you jerk, I've got no need for straw. Where am I putting the straw? If I put the straw down here, it ruins my structure for the town hall or ruins my structure for the chapel. And you start to effectively just try and get rid of or take up spaces that you might need later. So you're mortgaging your future for you now.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's just great. And you can play this one of 2 ways. You can play it fully just looking at your own board and trying to work with what's given to you, or you can scope out what other people are doing and intentionally try and stitch them up by saying, I think we're going to use glass this time. So everyone has to get this turquoise thing, and they're like, where am I going to put this stupid turquoise square or cube? Where's it going to go? this game is great for another reason in that it's got so much variety in the base box. So
100%.
Each of the buildings that you make, now, correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, actually, if you can let me know, that'd be great. Do the buildings, are they always built the same way? So, for example, is the barn always built with the same structural
shape?
Yeah, same shape.
Good question.
Yeah.
That I don't know. I'll look it up while you keep talking.
I'll keep looking. But so the reason why I bring that up is because in certain games, the barn might have different scoring requirements, or it might score for how many wells you have in the game, or it might score for being orthogonal to something. So like I said, different scoring requirements, which then all you need to do is just shift one card out and the game changes tremendously. Again, it probably
100%.
a little bit like we're saying with Quacks, how if you change out one of the powers of the tokens, you just change the game because then people value it a bit differently. I mean, it's a lot of fun with not a lot of rules overhead.
Yep.
And like I said, the variety is there a lot. Like there's so much variety in the base game. I think there's a couple of expansions that add maybe some more buildings in or something like that. But man, just having that challenge of, all right, here's what I've got to work with. I've placed this there. And sometimes you'll stumble upon a building that you have randomly just assigned cubes to the side and say, I can make that, and it works. Or you'll unfortunately be in the position where it's like, I was going to have this massive scoring play, but unfortunately I have to place this down here, and it's just absolutely ruined my my strategy. It's very cute too. It's very, very cute.
It's definitely one of those games where you go, oh, that thing I did 3 turns ago completely effed myself up. I have ruined this whole game for myself by that one thing that I did. I agree. It's a really fun little game and really accessible. I just had a look. The different cards, so because there's different buildings, like you said. So there's like the yellow buildings, the green buildings, the red buildings, and then the scoring condition changes depending on the card, but also generally the shape is the same. So, you know, for example, the red buildings, which are like the farm type things, are square, but then the actual materials you need are different. So one might need 2 brown cubes and 2 gold cubes, and the other one might need 2 brown cubes, a gold cube, and a turquoise cube. So it's a bit different. And some of the other ones, the shapes are slightly different, but broadly it's like this structure is a 4 square structure, this structure is a 5 square structure, for example. But then it's the scoring. I think it's actually the scoring that probably changes up the things the most in terms of the scoring conditions for each card as well.
Because in some of it's a simple change, such as it needs to be against the border of your town, or it needs to be touching something, or it can't be touching other ones of the same kind, or
it can't be in the same row or column.
Oh, that's a good one. That one I was, I think, whichever building that was, I think I committed to it too much, as in I was trying to have too many of them in my town, and I was just like, well, I'm scoring 5 points, but I'm probably neglecting 10 or 12 by just keeping other ones out. So
exactly.
Again, it came out at a time, I think, when there were lots of these little town building Euro-y, like lighter games, and it kind of got lost in the shuffle to the point where I played another game. It might have been called Little Builders or Tiny Builders or something like that. And
that's about right.
It was it had kind of the same bones, but was slightly, So it's easy for it to get lost. And I think when people look at it, they go, "Oh, it looks cool," but it looks a little bit like Everdell, or it looks a little bit like,
gives me Barron Park vibes a little bit. Even though it's not tiles, but that same little board that you have in front of you. Yeah.
And trying to place things in a particular way. But like I said, like we both said, it's a great, fun game that yeah, it's super accessible. We're just playing lots of accessible games at the moment, Joe. I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
that's
what's getting to the table. Even though I received my copy of World Order, which is the new game from the Hegemony group, and it's just I look at it going, I want to play you, but I have to play these other games instead.
I think last time we caught up to play games as a group, someone mentioned it, and there was about 4 people in the room that did that. Oh, like is it? Yes, we're playing that next time, right. Sort of deal.
So, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of cute little games, I've also been playing Wind the Film or Photograph as well. Have you played that before?
No, I played a couple of such and such. Yeah, I feel like I need a kick in the backside for this, and
I'll bring it to PlayCon.
Yeah,
I just love this game. I'm sure I've talked about it in the pod before. It's one of my favorite such and such games. I think I just find the mechanic of winding the film. So you have like a hand of cards, and you're going to be moving like the mechanic of moving cards in your hand to change then what you're playing to your set collection is just so satisfying. And that mechanic is just really interesting to me, and it changes up your strategy and how you move the cards through the game. I showed it to Lorenzo. It's actually one of the few games that he did not like that I've shown him in recent times. I think he felt like it was one too many things to have to keep track of.
Sure.
Maybe it's because I kicked his ass at it. I don't know.
Yeah,
normally he beats me at everything. So
he's like, wait a minute, this isn't the status quo. So what's going on here?
That's right. Wait a minute, you absolutely embarrassed me at this game. I want to get it to the table more, and I want to play it more with higher player counts again, because I feel like I've only been playing it 2-player lately, and I'm not sure the game shines at lower player counts. But if you're listening and you haven't heard us talk about Photograph before, it's a Sashi and Sashi game, so it's a Japanese game, and it is all about, essentially, it's a very whimsical theme. It's all about taking photographs of your city, and essentially it's a set collection game where you're trying to collect sets of different colored cards, purple, blue, green, and you do so in an ascending or descending fashion, and each color has a unique number in its range. So for the blue, there is a 1 through 10 and 1 of each card. And so when you're collecting them and setting them down in your tableau, you have to pick a direction. So you're either ascending or descending. And then you can't then break the rules of then playing further cards from there. And so you can really mess yourself up if you've got cards out of order in your hand. And that's where the winding the film, where you're moving a card from the back to the front of your hand, from the front to your back of your hand, is really clever, because you're kind of changing the order of the cards in your hand, and therefore can make sure you're still sticking to the rule that you need to stick to in terms of the ascending or descending playing of the cards. And it's a bit of a race, because if you're the first to collect I can't remember the name of the bonus points card. I can't remember. But you can get like a bonus 5 points, for example, if you're the first to play 5 cards of that particular color. So it's a bit of a race to try and play as many of that color down as well. Just really clever. I think out of all the Sashi and Sashi games I've played, I find it has the cleverest mechanic. It's really accessible. It's just basically a deck of cards, easy to carry around. Like you could keep it in your pocket, for example. It'd be super easy. And just have loved playing it. I want to play it some more.
Yeah, I think the last Sashi and Sashi game I played was Let's Make a Bus Route?
Yeah.
I like that one. That's fun. But I think everyone that I've heard talk about Wind the Film or Photograph has just raved about it. And that mechanic of winding your card back to the back of your hand it's very, very clever. And like you said, it is super whimsical. Hey, just I would never have thought of having something like that. And it is simple, but really engaging. So yeah, sounds good. We'll have to play it at PlayCon. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I'll bring it.
Cool. So we had a couple of games mentioned there, but we might head on to our sizzles now.
Are you looking for your next game night obsession? Head to More Than Meeples, Brisbane's go-to destination for board games, TCGs, and everything tabletop. There's even a great selection of toys, puzzles, and collectibles to satisfy the big kid in you. More Than Meeples isn't just a store, it's a community hub for gamers of all levels. With weekly events such as Magic the Gathering, Riftbound, board games, and quilting, you're bound to make a new friend or two. Their friendly, knowledgeable team are always ready to assist you in finding the perfect game or help you connect with other like-minded gamers. Shop in store at the Fortitude Valley store with free on-site parking or online with click and collect available and fast $10 flat rate shipping across Australia. So the next time you're thinking of adding to your collection or needing a night out, head to morethanmeeples.com.au or even better, join the Discord community for an active and welcoming space to connect. See you there.
So I'll lead us off, and
I'm so jealous. I'm just letting you know. Yeah. I'm so jealous.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, hopefully by the end of this, you'll be even more jealous. Last week, I tossed up whether I was going to talk about this game or Clans of Caledonia, and they're not the same game by any means, but they have a lot of the similar DNA because Age of Innovation is part of this set of 3 games of Terra Mystica, Gaia Project, Age of Innovation, which share many, many, many of the same mechanics. The big difference between Terra Mystica, Gaia Project, Age of Innovation is that Age of Innovation is set in the Terra Mystica universe, but it borrows a lot of the mechanics that were refined in Gaia Project and uses them, but also has a fair share of their own. Now, there's enough, I'll say this from the outset, there's enough differences. I have not played a lot of Terra Mystica. I might have played it once or twice, but there's enough differences between Age of Innovation and Gaia Project that you could definitely own both of them. So I played this 2-player with Sarah the other day, and we were talking, and Sarah got somewhat frustrated with me because I kept saying, "Oh, but in Gaia Project, this is what happens. In Gaia Project, this is what happens." She's like, "I don't care about Gaia Project. We're playing Age of Innovation." I was like, "Fair enough. I'll stop saying it," because it was almost like I hadn't realized how annoying I was being, and then I realized, oh, you're actually being really annoying by just referencing another game when someone has taken the time out to play a game with you, and you're just mentioning another game. It's like, you'd be like, "Oh, but at this restaurant they serve this type of food, or at this restaurant they serve this type of food." Yeah.
I think from memory also Sarah preferred Terra Mystica to Gaia Project. Definitely. So we're referencing the game that she doesn't preference.
Yes. Yeah.
I prefer Terra Mystica.
Yeah. And if I had been doing it to be a jerk, like intentionally, it would kind of been a bit funny, but I actually I was actually just making it. But anyway, so this is a mid to heavy Euro where you're taking the role of a fantasy race. The cool part about this that's different to Gaia Project is that in Gaia Project, you get given a race, and your race encompasses your power, so like a general power, your, oh my God, I can't believe I've forgotten what it's called. Any minor changes to the board that you have, i.e. whether you get different income from buildings, and you also then have a power for your, Joe, you might remember what it's called, the big squarish building that you build.
Yeah.
The
I can't remember.
Where's Def?
The biggest building, right?
I need to phone a friend. I need to phone Def. It's not an institute because the institutes are science buildings, but yeah. Anyway, it's like an embassy. It's like your race's embassy. All of that's encompassed within the race. So if you're playing as one of like the red race, so the space chickens, everything is there on the board. You have the power, you have your starting position, so on and so forth. However, with Age of Innovation, there's a combination of the two that you draw. So you draw your race, and then you almost draw like your power to pair up with that race. So you end up with almost the same amount of differentiation that you would in Gaia Project. However, they're not the same. So in any different game, in any game, they could be totally different. So you might get like the burrowers on the green land, or you might get weirdly, you might get the seafaring people on the grey land, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
What runs commonly throughout all of these games is that you have a home land or a home planet. So in the case of Age of Innovation, you've almost got like a home landscape, and that's the one that you can settle on without any cost. except for building except for building the building cost itself. However, if you then it's displayed in a circular manner, almost like the faces of a clock, where each step along this dial is one extra tool you have to spend in order for you to be able to live on that land. Now, the cool part about Age of Innovation is that you don't have to spend that cost all in one turn to turn it into a habitable land for you.
Yep.
But what that does mean is that, let's say we're playing races that share lands that they prefer to live on, or that are one step away. If I was to use a tool to change it to a land that suits you, you can gazump me and go straight onto that land.
Yeah, of course.
So, but what does happen is if you then change it, so and the tool cost might be like 3 iron or something like that, or workers. I think they're called workers. It's not called iron in this. The cubes are called workers. So you might spend 3 workers for each tool action, and then you can power that up so you effectively only have to use 1 worker for each action. So if you were to compare it to Gaia Project, it's like the terraforming action, spending iron. So the further you increase this power, the less it costs you. Therefore, you can take more steps for cheaper. The other cool thing about Age of Innovation is that once you use the tools to change it to your suitable landscape, you can build on it, not for free in the sense it doesn't cost you anything, but it doesn't cost you an action. So that's really cool. So that's why you would want to, if you can, to change it into the preferable land when you in all in one turn. So it's not going to cost you anything different in terms of building costs or tool costs, but you'll have to do that. Similar, there's money, and of course the return of that power mechanic where you cycle the power through. And if someone builds near one of your buildings, you can sacrifice points to charge power. Now, this is one of my favorite parts of Gaia Project. I think I held the record for when myself, Harry, and Def used to play this for the number of charges of power. It was just astronomical because I loved it. I loved having the power to be able to take extra actions, not extra actions, to be able to take actions on the board. So that returns as well. So the race to take those actions, especially in a 2-player game where it's get 3 workers or take 2 terraforming actions for free, or get a scholar, and so on and so forth. That's still there, and it's really fun to do.
See, my vibe was always, I need 1 more power to do the thing I want to do. I was too dumb to have planned ahead for the amount of power I need for the things that I need to do.
So, yeah, I mean, look, I'm sure I'm entirely inefficient when I do these things, and I'm charging power when I definitely don't need to, but it was such a fun mechanic. So I
agree. It's a great mechanic.
So some of the other cool parts of Age of Innovation are you can continue to customize your race by getting different upgrades. So there's some upgrades for similarly, that same building from Gaia Project, you actually don't have a power for that building until you build it, and then you can claim one from the board. So it's really cool. So so it's random each time. So
you mean the big building?
Yes, the big building. That kind of either changes your race or it gives your race an extension of their power that they already have. So
interesting.
So that's not set in stone. That they're set out at the start of the game, and then it's a race to see who can build the first one. And it's placed on there, so on and so forth.
Interesting.
Still got that same mechanic of building. I think it's called a town, and just like a federation in Gaia Project, you build the town. You've got to have 7 power amongst 4 buildings. However, you can build buildings to mean that either the power is increased of each of those buildings, or you only have to have 3 buildings in your town for it to be considered a town. So there's all this flexibility. Another cool thing too is that there are buildings that anyone can build but you have to pay the cost for them, and there's a limited supply of those for the entire group. So they're white buildings, and each of them also might have a different power as well. So it could be like the monastery or the town hall, or it might be like the Mage's Tower, something along those lines that will have a power that belong to you and can still also be part of your township to increase that as well. Now, one thing I really like about Gaia Project that is in Age of Innovation but isn't the same are the science tracks. So the tracks that you go up. So they are still in the game. They're more for end of game scoring. We say R4 in Gaia Project. There's a little bit of increasing your income, but not as much as there is in Gaia Project. So that's done, I think, from a balancing point of view because there's so much randomness with the races and the land that they can inhabit or start on and the powers of the buildings. There is a lot of randomness here that is not present in Gaia Project, and I don't think it's present in Terra Mystica either. So I think while I do miss that, I can understand why they left it out.
Does it still have the same end of round scoring mechanic as well?
Okay, so this one's a little bit different because there is an end of round scoring mechanic. However, you generally don't get points. What you do... No, sorry, I'll take that back. There's almost a mid-round or during the round scoring mechanic that you have. And then what you look at is depending on how many spots you've gone up on a particular track, you will get money for each of those. So let's say, for example, the scoring card for that round, it has 3 blue circles on it. That means for every 3 blue circles you've gone up, you get $1. So it's a way of getting income as well as your buildings. So, and just like in the other games, Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, you have your basic buildings, in this case, they're houses which give you workers. Then you have like the banks which give you money. You have the push-pull of, well, if I'm going to build a bank, I have to get rid of a house, which means that I lose that worker at the next turn, the income from the worker. And you still have the what are they called? Like the institute type buildings where you can get a science tile or a scholarly tile and things like that. One of the resources that you have in this game are scholars, and you can commit a scholar to the board, which lets you move up one of the knowledge tracks. And the further you moved up the knowledge tracks, the more access you have to books, and the books can be spent to increase and customize your board some more. So I mean, there's so much customization in this game. It's crazy. It's really, I think, as tight and as rigid as Gaia Project is, there's a reason for that because it's so finely balanced. This game is still incredibly balanced too, but there is a lot of variety in each game that you play because even if you draw out the same races, the same power cards, and the same starting land forms, because you might draft one of those races in a different land form than I did the second game, it's going to be completely different. And the game state will completely change. And then your power might synergize a bit better. Nothing feels like it fits one of the powers better than the other so far from what I've played. So it does reward clever play, but there is that randomness which might turn people off. However, I think it is a lot more forgiving. It's still tight, but it's a lot more forgiving than Gaia Project, where, I mean, it doesn't bother me because I'm already convinced that I'm going to come last or second last each time I play that. But you can work your way out of some pretty tense situations or pretty tight situations with some clever planning in Age of Innovation. The other thing that it has, which I first encountered in Clans of Caledonia, is moving along the river to give you reach. So it's got the same thing. However, in order, and I made a bit of a blue when I was playing it, in order for you to build across the river, you have to build a bridge. So we were playing this, and no one was ever taking a bridge action. And it wasn't until the end that Sarah's like, oh, hang on, no. You haven't built any bridges, have you? I was like, well, no, I haven't needed to. I've got reach from the river. And she goes, no, I don't think that's how it works. I think you've got to build the bridge to build across. It was like, oh no. So it was sort of a little bit moot by the end, but
yeah.
Yeah, Sarah then replied with, but it doesn't matter because we're going to play this again, so bad luck.
Yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
That's fair enough. But yeah, I mean, you're a fan of Gaia Project, Joe. You would absolutely love this game. It's great. Like I said, a lot of variety in the box. And unlike Gaia Project, there's the board, and that board does not change. Whereas, Gaia Project, we've got the hexy quadrant bits that you can shuffle and change. This one does not change. I think it just changes based on the number of players.
Yeah, I've been keen to play it. I think I bought it. I can't remember if I bought this. Is bad. This is bad that I can't remember if I bought this game or not. I'm pretty sure I bought it on a sale or something. I've only played Gaia Project like twice. I own Terra Mystica. I haven't played that either. I find this group of games really intimidating to think about teaching. Even though I really love teaching complex games, for some reason these games just have this extra barrier to me to think, I'm scared to teach them. Maybe if I played them more, I'd be more confident. But yeah, I'd love to play this. I think the thing I like to hear about from what you've been saying is that I think the randomness, I think it solves that design issue of having to balance for making sure there's not like a path to victory that is the most obvious.
Yeah.
So if it's always different, then there is no way to be like, well, you should always choose this race with this particular type of land type and then with this power. Like, it's all too random. So you just have to kind of try and find the synergy yourself, which I think is really interesting. And like you said, I think that power cycling I also find really satisfying.
It's just so good. It's so fun.
Yeah,
I am constantly hoping people build next to me because I'm like, let me charge. Then you hope, and then what happens is you realize that people have kind of maxed out their builds, and then you go and increase the value of your building, and it's like, well, probably should have done that 3 turns ago when they were building like mad people. But anyway, I guess I saved some points, and I think that's the cool trade-off too. It's so the conversion is effectively you can charge for one more point that you sacrifice. So I think the most you can charge is like 4 power.
Yeah.
So you spend 3 points and you charge 4 power. So it's pretty cool. But it's cool. It's great. I can't wait to play it again.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you've been playing a game that's like much, much heavier than Age of Innovation. No.
Oh yeah. I mean, the way I got beaten with this game, you'd think I was playing the heaviest game around. So I finally got to bust out a game that's been on my shelf of shame probably for years. It's been in shrink for ages. And I got to play it because I had a friend who had asked to want to play it. And so the game is Calico. I'm a huge fan of Cascadia, and so it's by the same group of people, Flat Out Games, and published by AEG. And I think it was their first game in their series. So I got it to the table. And so if you haven't heard of Calico, I feel like it's kind of like entering like classic game almost in the kind of board game landscape. So it's a game that's got a very cutesy theme, kind of whimsical, similar to the film like we talked about earlier. You are essentially building out a patchwork quilt, and you want to make the coziest quilt to attract cats to come and sleep on your quilt, and that's essentially the game. It, very similar to Cascadia, if you've played Cascadia before, it's all about playing these little hex-based tiles, and you are trying to place them on your quilt. What's different to Cascadia is that in this game, for Calico, it's very contained, so your board has a border, and you are very restricted in where you're putting things. And the 3 main ways that you're scoring on the board are you will score you've got scoring patches on your quilt, and so they will score you points based on the pattern of the quilt around it. So each tile has a color and a pattern, and the scoring tile will have something like you want to get around this particular scoring tile, you want to get a pattern of A, A, B, B, C, C. So 2 reds, 2 greens, 2 yellows, or 2 reds, 2 yellows, 2 purples, or 2 polka dots, 2 florals, 2 stripes, for example. And then you'll get even more points if you manage to do it for both color and pattern, which is extremely hard to do. I discovered is extremely hard to do. So you've got the scoring tiles. The other examples of the scoring patches are AAA, BBB. So 3 of one color, 3 of another color, or 3 of one pattern, 3 of another pattern. There was another one where it was like all of the patches around your scoring tile have to be a completely different color or a completely different pattern, for example. The thing that's interesting in this game is the patches then you're scoring the patches based on the tiles surrounding that patch, directly connected to that patch. And so they're all on your board. And so the different space, a particular space probably applies to 2 different scoring patches, for example. So that was quite an interesting puzzle. The other way that you will score is for rows of the color. So if you have lots of purples all connected to each other, for example, you'll score based on that at the end of the game. You'll also add buttons of each color type to the quilt, and they score you points. And as I said, as part of the theme, if you each cat, there'll be 3 different cats that you'll have depending on the player count. You'll have cats available on the board to the side of the board, and they have particular preferences for particular patterns. And if you fulfill the requirement of that particular cat, in our game, for example, it was all about size. So the cat that scores you 3 points, for example, you want to have 3 of a particular pattern all connected to each other. If you do that, you then take one of the cute little cat tokens and place it on your quilt, and then that one scores you 3 points at the end of the game. The higher scoring cats, you need bigger connections of the different patterns, for example. And there's 6 different pattern types, 6 different colors in the game, and the cats prefer unique patterns, essentially. So the cat that scores you 3 points prefers a pattern that's different from the cat that scores you 7 points, for example. That's the game. Really simple, but man, is it brutal. Have you played it, Connor?
Oh, man, yeah, we
it's
played
so
this a
brutal.
fair bit. It's,
oh, my God.
I think it's funny you compare it to Cascadia. I think it's got a lot. It doesn't have more in common, but I also think it's got a lot in common with Azul and the drafting and the nastiness and leaving people with stuff they don't want. It's like,
100%.
What the heck am I going to do with this stupid quilt pattern? Like, where am I going to put it? And
100%.
The race for trying to create the right ones for the cats to come and sit on. For a game that's meant to be cute. Well, okay, for a game that has such a cute theme, it is nasty. It is mean. And I find myself laughing at people's misfortune in this game more than most other games because it's like, I'm glad that's not me because I'd be throwing my quilt off the table. Like I'd just be eating it away. Right. But yeah, it's so fun and really fulfilling when you can get some sort of overlap between pattern type, size, and the colors and the buttons. That's really fulfilling. I think it's really fun. Again, there's a fair bit of variety in it too, which is great.
Exactly. Yeah. So you can have different cats go through. You can. We played the base beginner variant, but you can like draft the different scoring tiles so you can actually all have different scoring conditions. The drafting of when you select a tile, so you always have 2 tiles to choose from to play, and kind of very similar to Cascadia, you'll play what's in front of you, and then you'll take from the available market, and then you refill from the bag from there. So you've always got a limited amount of choice in terms of what you're playing and what you're picking up. And I came easily dead last in the game that I played in a 4-player game. And the reason is that I was striving for perfection. I wanted to get maximum points for all 3 of the patches, and it meant that I scored almost nothing. I shouldn't have done that. I was like holding out for I need pink polka dots.
Yeah.
Which there might be 3 tiles in the whole bag that are 3 pink polka dots. So, and then if other people take them and place it on their board, then you're screwed. So that was why I lost. On reflection, I was my own worst enemy, and I was striving for perfection, and I didn't reach the perfection I was expecting. So, but I think it was really fun. It's very accessible. I think it would actually probably be great at 2 players as well as 4 players. And the theme was great as well. It was a big hit with the group that I played with, for sure.
Yeah, the theme. But while it is hard in terms of it's hard to score, it's not a hard game to play, right? Like
Agree.
You can put the tiles down or the patterns and quills down wherever you want, but in reality, it's not going to score you that well. This is a game that we have played quite a bit with my sister-in-law.
Yeah,
she's Chinese, so she's Chinese, and reading a lot of text and things like that, and having to interpret it for her. She doesn't like a lot of those games because she wants to have some independence. Whereas something with like Calico, it's language independent, right? You don't even need language for. She loves cats. Yeah. She loves being under a blanket and quilt. So this is like a game that's made for her. Yeah, that's right. So, she just loves it. And she's always asking to play the cat game. Can we play the cat game? Can we play the cat game?
Cute. That's
and
cute.
When we'd much rather play Calico with her than Ticket to Ride, because she obliterates us in Ticket to Ride. At least Calico is tight. Right, like
yeah.
You don't get blown out, but with the score, like it's still tight. So yeah, it's a great game. I agree. I think it's moving into that one you would consider like a modern classic or a modern great. Because it's just so. I think most people play it and they're so surprised by it that they want to tell other people about it. So yeah, it's definitely one of those games.
Yeah, for sure. So it's Calico. Great
right.
fun.
So we had Age of Innovation and Calico as our sizzling games. And so now we'll move on to some news and announcements. This episode is brought to you by Leader Games, proud sponsors of PlayCon for 3 years running. Leader Games are the publishers behind modern favourites like Root, Ahoy, Fort, and A Vast and Mysterious Manor. Games known for memorable table moments, clever design, and rewarding repeat play. At Leader Games, they believe that games bring people together, creating fun, engaging experiences that welcome all kinds of players to the table. Whether you love asymmetric strategy, clever card play, or just discovering something different with your gaming group, there's a Leader Games title waiting for you. Check out Leader Games at leadergames.com. All right, so you're going to be hearing about this a lot over the next couple of episodes because you haven't heard enough about it so far, and that is PlayCon, the 3rd through the 5th of July 2026 this year at the ICC in Sydney. Tickets are still on sale. We have also opened up some more tickets for each day. So there are still some limited tickets for Saturday and for Sunday and for Friday. So please get on there and grab those tickets if you're interested in going. So yes, there was a wait list. So hopefully you can still get your tickets if you went on the wait list. Otherwise, buy a 3-day pass. You can come to all 3 days. You can come and see us on each of those 3 days. And the After Game app, the event on After Game is live. So people have been going absolutely nuts. I think there's something like 800 events. 800.
Yeah, man.
That is crazy. 800.
Mate, that's us. We've been working hard to put that on.
True.
Particularly Dana. Dana has done an amazing job getting the events together.
So jump into the After Game app, sign up and follow us, and you'll be able to see all the different events that are on offer. I mean, we've got games with designers, games with artists. We've got giant games of OctoCube. We've got Joe is playing a couple of games of Root, so we were just talking about that a couple of episodes ago. So that'll be really exciting.
If you've always wanted to learn how to play Root, great to come and learn from the master.
The master, yes, and you can show them how to do an otter ball, which is
hell my favorite.
Yeah, and I've got a game of Flip 7 with a Vengeance going on a couple of the days, so it'd be fun. Join in and play that with me. It is super fun. We won't turn it into a drinking game, don't worry, like we have done before, so that's fine. And looking forward to the panels. We've got Cole Worley on a panel, Andrew Bozza with Ian O'Toole on a panel, Shem Phillips and Kim Brayback, all with heaps of great stuff to talk about, so that's going to be exciting. And the Paint and Take is back, and if you haven't seen if you haven't seen, we have our Playcon mini named Bruce. He is a platypus, art inspired by Andrew Bosley, or art created, I should say, by Andrew Bosley, that has inspired this mini. It is the platypus from our Playcon charity t-shirt. Please go on and pre-order this. We will have limited numbers available on the day if you want to get your Bruce mini to be able to paint at the paint and take, or even just go home and paint it yourself. Please pre-order it on our website in order that you get your little Brucey.
Little Brucey, he's so cute. I'm really excited to give him a paint for sure.
I think I was saying when we last called up, Joe, I think like if you're a D&D player or a miniature player, like you'll just have a platypus monster or platypus NPC like so in your campaign.
Hell yeah.
I'd love to see someone create a Kingdom Death monster for Bruce.
A penis platypus.
Oh no! Use the poo salve on Bruce. Yeah. Sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry. No, we wouldn't do that. Yeah, but oh man, it's going to be so great.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say is that we have confirmed and announced to the designers who've been successful in securing a spot in Designer Alley for this year. And we are going to be putting the games on our website shortly, so you'll be able to have a look at the designers, have a little blurb about what the games are about, so you can start to plan ahead about which Designer Alley games you might want to have a go at. Designer Alley is the area where Australian designers and New Zealand designers get to showcase their prototypes. It's a really cool experience to be able to try a game before it's been released and to see the process of designing, particularly for local designers. So highly recommend you have a look at our website, and then in the coming weeks we'll be posting that up. And there are some really cool games that have been submitted this year. We had a really hard job judging the submissions because the quality was so high. So come along, have a look. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, one of the highlights and something that I think we as a group are really proud of is how we champion and have been able to champion local designers, because that's something that we wanted to do from the inception of this podcast and running these events. So yeah, really excited.
Absolutely.
But like I said, tickets are still available for all days, but they are running out quickly. They are selling like hotcakes, so please jump in and get your tickets, and we hope to see you there first weekend of July. Okay, so last week's question of the pod was, what games need no expansions to be great and why? So, Joe, do you have one that you can think of that doesn't need an expansion to be great?
Yeah. So, what I've been playing a lot of lately is Sea Salt and Paper. So that base game, I think someone posted this in the community as well on Discord. That game is excellent, just the base game. I think the extra pepper expansion adds a little bit extra spice that actually I find really interesting and helps value up some of those low value cards in the base deck. But I think the base deck itself, I've been infecting people with this game. Like Lorenzo's bought it. He's bought it from multiple friends. My family have bought it. Like I've just been infecting everyone with this game.
That's the same with when I took it home for Christmas.
Yeah.
I was like, I think this will be good. Like in between, Megan will have to go off and sorry, this is going to sound awful, Megan being my sister, but she'll go off and start getting something ready, or I'll be having to get something ready, or someone like will just be taking turns doing things. And next thing you know, people have got Sea Salt and Paper out because there's 4 people to play with. Yeah. And it's just like, it is so much fun. And I didn't have any of the expansions, and we still get a lot out of it. And we're still finding strategies as well.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's so dependent on the group as well. So I'd say that. And then I guess what we've talked about today, Cascadia, I think is actually, I've got the expansion, but I think the base game is perfect as is and is such a lovely cup of tea game to sit down and play. So Cascadia would be the other one that I was thinking of.
So we did have some responses from the community. So if you want to run off the first half for us, Joe, that'd be awesome.
For sure. So from Facebook, we had Shane Murray who said, so many games, I'd even argue most of them, even the games I own or the expansions for, usually get played with just the base game at first. But a few off the top of my head are Agricola, Food Chain Magnate, Vindication, Castles of Burgundy, Snowdonia, Tilitum, and Zolkin. And then we had Kath Gregory, who said Castles of Burgundy, Tzolk'in, Origins, the Magnificent, and Underwater Cities. Actually, Underwater Cities is one I've never played before. Have you played that before?
Yeah, I love Underwater Cities.
It's one of those. Man. Yeah, it's one of those games where I think I've really got to give it a go for sure. James Salisbury, I love the base game of Battle of Hoth and Nemesis Lockdown, with Nemesis Lockdown's expansions adding cosmetic upgrades or giving you different enemies to deal with. There is no need to get unless you want a different challenge. David Bryson said Twilight Imperium. Controversial take, I know, but the expansion adds a whole bunch of unnecessary extra weight. The base game is enough. I don't need more. Saying that, I need to cop some flack for this. Oh, no. Saying that, I expect to cop some flack for this. So, I thought he was self-flagellating. Yeah. But anyway. And then Jolly Swagman said, Terraforming Mars. I was on Terraforming Mars from very early on, and I played it as each and every expansion came out. For me, if I had the choice nowadays, I would play it purely with the base game and any cards that are compatible with just the base game. That's not to say the expansions are bad, but I think the base game was just so nice and clean that I prefer it.
That's interesting because lots of people would say that if you're going to play Terraforming Mars, you've got to play it with the Prelude.
Correct.
So, yeah, just an interesting counterpoint from the Jolly Swagman.
And then Javier Theodoros Bergoski said, Scythe is great as it is. The expansions are just more. Lisboa or any Lacerda for that matter needs no expansion. Pax Pamir is a masterpiece. Inish is also a masterpiece.
Rubbish.
I love Inish. No, you like Inish?
It's just Jewel. It's just
sure. You just want to piss Jewel.
Yeah.
Concordia also qualifies. Fate of the Fellowship Fort and so many others are great the way they are.
Yeah.
And then the Limestone Cowboy from Instagram said, Lost Cities all day. That's actually an excellent game.
So good. I still can't work out the scoring. Like, I have to play it on BGA because I'm like, I don't know what the scoring is or how much I'm deducting. Like, yeah.
Sure.
So then we have some responses off of Discord. So Run JMB says, Great Western Trails 2nd edition. The Rails to North expansion is nice, but is not needed. The base game is well-rounded and a fine game in itself. Another excellent example is Brass Birmingham. Doesn't have an expansion, doesn't need it. Agreed. Both awesome games by themselves. Honorable mention to Agricola. Waturgi says, lots of games don't need the expansion, but one game that's great out of the box is Orleans, in my opinion. Lots of variety, but the expansions add things that make it better or different. I think he's saying, like, it does make it better, but, you can play it without it. Rorge says, no expansions required for Quest for El Dorado. It's generally a nice, tight race to the end. Scythe, Praga Kaput Regni are big enough and don't need more going on or fixes. And already mentioned on the podcast, and Burgundy, a classic, ticks all the right boxes. Love the way it is. My new favorite, Hansa Teutonica, and has the right amount of interaction and Euroness. Such a great game. Dare I say, perfect. Ooh, Hansa Teutonica.
I do love Hansa.
Yeah, me too.
I do love Hansa. It's very good. I also I don't own Castle of Burgundy. I feel like that's a huge hole in my collection. I love that game.
I have one of the Harry very kindly donated his like OG version to me when he got the Whiz Bang version.
Cute.
And I took it home over Christmas meaning to play it. But it's great. Have you played it?
I played a bunch of Castle of Burgundy. Yeah. Love that game. I just don't own it. I don't know why.
Big Nose says Arcs was, during development, whittled down from the sprawling multi-hour weird epic to a tight symmetric factions-based game. They succeeded handsomely. The base game is a delight just by itself. I was talking about this the other day with someone and about how I played Arcs in its original form and I was like, holy Moses, this is like ridiculously ambitious. As you can imagine from Cole, right? Like that's what it would be. And then when I played it, didn't look at it, didn't end up backing it, and then played it in its newest form or in its final form, and I was like, "This is amazing! This is really good." So, it is quite fun. So it's a good one from Big Nose. Cecilia Nova says, "I can't imagine even expanding Vantage. In all honesty, if it could be done, I'd want an expansion. But Vantage is a favorite already." Now, Brock T. So if you're on our Discord, I suggest you go check out Brock T's response. It was very, very long. I'm not going to read it all out, Brock, but I think it was fantastic. So if you are part of our Discord, jump on and check it out. It was such a great response. So thank you for that, Brock. It was pretty much a thesis. So thank you. But Yes, so that's all the responses from last week's question. This one here, I think we have talked about games that would maybe start to move towards modern classics. I think this one is a great one to talk about because you as a person, you as a board gamer, you as a fan of the medium would have your own idea of what's a classic. So for me, a classic game is something that's been around for donkey's years. It's something that, that has impacted other games and so on and so forth, but that might be different for you. But it's what is a modern classic and why. I think you mentioned it before, Joe. I think Castles of Burgundy is a modern classic. I think it's fantastic. The way it's influenced other games, the dice taking, the placing the hexes on the board and all that type of stuff. It's just influenced so many other games as well. So for me, whether you say it's a modern classic or not, but I think one of the first games I put in mind is Castle of Burgundy.
The way I interpret the question is something a bit newer because it feels like Castle of Burgundy already is a classic to me. So what do I think? The way I interpret the question is more like, it's not just like a flash in the pan. Like it's going to have staying power in terms of people talking about it long term, kind of like Castle of Burgundy.
All right, so I've got another one.
Yeah.
SETI.
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree. I feel like the game has to do something that is interesting and unique and kind of first of its or best in its class almost. SETI's great. SETI's a great example for that. Because of the solar system mechanic where it goes around, I think it's very interesting.
And when you discover the aliens, it changes the game. So it's actually it's thematic in that sense, but there's also a sense of familiarity, right? The way that you play actions is super familiar because you're spending cards to play those actions, and sometimes you get a bonus from the cards. That's a really familiar process. Yeah, but they're using it in a new and unique way. Having to send your satellite to orbit first, and then you can place your rover on them, and so on and so forth. Yep.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think for me, it would probably be Hot Streak. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel like that game is clever. It's fun. It's silly. It is fun whenever you play it, and it also doesn't need an expansion. I think like it's the deck of cards you're playing with is so different each time, and you as players are adding to it each time that I think you are going to have a good time when you play it regardless. And I really enjoy that from SETI for sure, from Hot Streak for sure. There was one other game. The other game I've thought of actually is Fromage and Formaggio are so unique and so accessible and so interesting in terms of the structure of their board and the way it's a lazy Susan. I could see that having staying power as well, and people continuing to talk about it. Because I think Castles of Burgundy, if you take that as the example, it's not very rules heavy, but it's very interesting in terms of the decision space, and it's got some interaction in it, so it keeps that interesting as well. And it was kind of a bit unique in the way the board state kind of happened in front of you. I don't know. That would be my two choices. My two choices would be Fromage and Hot Streak. I think are probably going to have staying power over time.
Yeah, I'll go with SETI. I think as mine. I'll remove Castles of Burgundy because you're right. It probably is just considered a classic, right? Yeah. Well, it's got a new Awakened Realms, version.
Oh, true. I didn't think of that.
It's like so for sure. It probably is a classic.
I look forward to the Awakened Realms version of Hot Streak coming in a year's time.
It's going to be like weird, like dream, like mum and what's the hot dog's name?
Hurley. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Stupid fish. So anyway, it's not up to us. It's up to you guys. So please head on to our socials, our Facebook community page, Instagram, and our Discord to answer what game would you say is a modern classic and why. We're looking forward to hearing about what you think is the answer to that question. And of course, If you want to participate in our community, one of the ways you can do that is joining our Patreon at patreon.com/boardgamebarbecue patreon.com/boardgamebarbecue. Sign up to donate and get access to exclusive podcast episodes. We have a fair library available for you to listen to. There's lots of other ways to support the podcast without donating. The easiest way is to tell your friends. You can go to Apple Podcasts and leave a star rating and review for us. You can use Spotify's new star rating system. It means a lot to us to give us a rating, so it's a good way for us to get us to the top of some of those charts, which would be lovely for us to continue to move up them. You can also get involved on the aforementioned communities I spoke about before, our Facebook community, X, Instagram, and when we upload our audio to YouTube. And there is, of course, the Discord community with always lots of games going on, discussions from board game discussions, board game pictures, latest Kickstarters, crowdfunding, people looking for game development help, and of course some random off-topic ones. There's been a lot of video game shows at the moment, from PlayStation to the Summer Games Fest that's got people's wagging, and of course Joe's favorite, the sport section of Discord.
Yes, I definitely look at it frequently. I definitely haven't got it muted.
Yeah, yes. Where you can hear about us discuss all the terrible umpiring decisions that happen across all sports. But yes, I love our Discord. It's such a great place to be. All the links are in the show notes.
Good Games Publishing is Australia's largest tabletop game publisher, making high-quality games with real strategic depth. Their latest games include 12 Rivers, a unique set collection game where magical pearls physically roll down the board, and Land vs. Sea Uncharted, an expansion to their acclaimed map-building tile placement game. Coming in 2026, Winds of Numasera, a deep kingdom-building strategy game where 4 asymmetric factions clash, each with their own playstyle and multiple routes to victory. And Mythic Baths, a charming competitive card game where you bathe mythical creatures, balancing ingredients, treatments, and guests who may just push you to work together. Good Games Publishing has something for every gaming group, whether that's families, friends, or seasoned hobbyists. Find your next favourite at goodgamespublishing.com.
All right, Joe, we are going to tell the listeners what's got us fired up lately. Last week, I talked about my venture into rugby for the first time in 24 years. Oh, my God.
I'm so impressed.
Thanks, man. Yeah. And of course, new game group to play with. So we ended up last week, we played Raising Chicago, which was cool.
Nice.
And looking forward to talking about that on a future show. What's got you fired up?
Well, it's been a hard 3 weeks for old Joe.
Yeah.
It's the start of winter, so the hospitals have just been heaving with patients, lots of sick people coming into hospitals. So it's been really busy and really hard. So I'm so excited that I'm going on 3 weeks holiday this weekend. I'm going to be going to Istanbul and to Italy. So I'm going to be going to Rome and Naples. And I can't wait to eat my weight in Turkish bread and pasta.
Oh my God. Like,
I'm so excited.
Man, you know what I could just eat? I don't know, like it's not traditional Turkish, but like Turkish bread, olive oil, and like dukkha.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, just.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's so good.
So I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to take a couple little card games with me and see if I can get some people to play with me. But yeah, that's definitely what's got me the most fired up. I fly out Tuesday. I cannot wait.
That's awesome. Yes. Yeah. Well, I look forward to hearing about it when we catch up next. It's going to be fun.
It'll be awesome.
I have been playing this little video game if you're into video games, you will have no doubt, and I know, Joe, you're a big fan of this company's first game with Broken on the Scene with Shovel Knight. And that's Yacht Club Games.
Yep.
And they have released this game called Minna the Hollower, which is this exceptional top-down adventure game. If you've ever played any of the Super Nintendo or Nintendo Zelda games. It's inspired by that, with a little bit of Castlevania too, a little bit of modern sort of, not permadeath, but having to go back and get your things when you die. It's super cool. So I'm really keen to play some more of that. Yeah, you've been playing it too?
It has been brutal.
Yeah.
I have had to set my controller down and walk away multiple times because I've been like, why can I not get past this bad guy?
Yeah.
I am going to lose. And I have lost. In this game, you're collecting bones, and if you die too many times in a row without collecting your spirit back or whatever, the spark back, you just lose your collection of bones. I have lost astronomical amounts of bones, and I've been so upset. I've had to set it down and walk away and be like, it's just a game. It's just a game. It's okay. It's just a game. But I've had so much fun with it. It's been excellent.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to play that. It's on my Switch, so I can take it to work and play on the way to work. I can also just chuck it in the TV. And these 8 to 12-bit graphics on my large TV, it's just crazy to see. Full, not even letterboxed like it is on the Nintendo online. It's full on. So it's been heaps of fun. Looking forward to it. In fact, I might just go play some when we finish recording. It'd be good.
Yeah.
But
same.
Yeah, that's what's got us fired up. Joe, I think yours maybe pips mine in terms of excitement. Maybe just a bit.
Mate, I've been so excited for this trip. I haven't had a holiday for a long time, so I am gagging for it. I can't wait.
Yeah, no, it's going to be excellent. I'm really jealous. I'd love to go to Istanbul one day.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go.
It's on the list. But hey, thanks for joining me, mate. Always a pleasure. Buddy. Always fun. And thank you guys for listening. Looking forward to talking to you again. Please. Thanks again to our patrons, to our sponsors, Advent Games and More Than Meeples. If you haven't got your ticket to PlayCon and you want to come to any of those days, please go and get it before they run out. And we would love to see you there. We're looking forward to it. There's been absolute metric butt ton of work going into this, and we're super excited. So hope to see you there. Keep playing those games, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
Love that energy.